Hi everyone, welcome to Outgrow's seasonal webinar. This time we are going to talk about how you and your business can adapt to the changing needs of a post-pandemic world, and especially a world that is seeing a rapid economic boom across the board. Now, before I continue, I want everyone who has registered for the webinar to know that you can claim a special 1-month extended trial of Outgrow, which you can use to make funnels, quizzes, calculators, contests, chatbots, forms, tests, and e-commerce recommendations. There are more than 1,000 templates available at the outgrow.co website that you can easily adapt for your business during this trial period. But anyway, coming back to the point at hand, post-pandemic shifts in customer preferences are expected to be significant. The Economist and the Wall Street Journal both predict that a historic economic boom is just around the corner. New business formation is surging across the world as entrepreneurs seek to fill gaps in the market. Growth and marketing strategies during this period will therefore need significant changes, if not a complete overhaul. We're going to have 5 panels to explore this topic. The first panel is with Yelp and Freshworks and is about how customer engagement has been revolutionized in the post-pandemic world. The second panel is with Ran Fishkin and Entreport and is about revised marketing and advertising strategies for the post-pandemic economic boom. The third panel is with Alibaba and Zoho and is about small and medium business tactics for the post-pandemic economic boom. The fourth panel is with Zapier and Aweber and is about automation and growth hacks in the post-pandemic economic boom. And finally, the fifth panel is with Unbounce and ConnectWell and is about landing page and interactive engagement in the post-pandemic economic boom. So without further ado, let's jump onto the first panel. Welcome to Panel A. We are here with Emily Washcovick, Senior Field Marketing Manager at Yelp, and Ramesh Natarajan, CX and Segment Marketing Manager at Freshworks. And they are going to talk about how customer engagement has been revolutionized in the post-pandemic world. So without further ado, let's go on to the rapid fire round. Texting or talking?
Definitely say texting.
Used to be talking, but texting now.
Your personal marketing mantra?
Be repetitive on social media because your consumer doesn't feel that repetitiveness.
Being humble and not thinking that you know the answer for everything. Things change all the time and you have to remain humble and be ready for change.
Favorite day of the week?
Friday.
I would like to shock you by saying Monday, but no, it's Saturday.
Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'd say 8, but that might be up for debate.
1, terrible driver.
2022's biggest marketing trend?
I think being honest and transparent in your marketing is going to be the biggest trend of that year.
2022's biggest marketing trend will be around providing a holistic experience, taking customers on a journey and not just talking to them differently over different channels. Like omni-channel customer service matter, I think omni-channel marketing also probably is a thing that will come up.
Name one of the 7 dwarves.
Say sleepy.
I'm going to just say shorty, I don't even know if there is one.
How many cups of coffee do you drink per day?
I try to keep it to 2 or less, but today I've had 4.
0. My wife has banned me from drinking coffee.
What's something you could eat for a week straight?
I'm a big fan of burgers, so I'd probably have a bunch of different burgers with different toppings all week.
Curd rice, like any typical South Indian Tamil Brahmin guy.
Emily Washcovick, what's a business hack or offering that came about in the pandemic and is here to stay as businesses return to the new normal?
So one thing that I've specifically seen is a ton of businesses find more efficient ways and more customer-friendly ways to get them their items. So for example, a ton of retail businesses started offering curbside pickup or carry out to-go orders for online things that people were purchasing rather than visiting the brick and mortar store. Now, some consumers are going to want to come back in person. They're going to want to come back and peruse and see what you have. But there might be times when they know exactly what they want and it's more convenient to check out online and do curbside pickup. So, if that's something that you operationally can still handle, maybe it's something you'll continue offering post pandemic. Another great example would be my veterinarian office. In the pre-pandemic world, I would have to worry about getting my 75-pound boxer to wait patiently in the waiting room while we were getting ready for our appointment. And now I get to stay in my car and that technician comes out and brings him into the facility and I discuss everything over the phone with my vet. So that is a convenience factor for me that makes my appointments a lot easier. It was a new thing they had to do because of the pandemic, but it's something they might continue to offer even post pandemic.
What's the best way to stay top of mind and relevant to your customers as the world opens back up and interest and energy is high?
The best thing to remember is that communication can be consistent and concise across multiple platforms. So there's a lot of different places that you probably have your business information and your message being told. Number one, your website. That's where you can completely control the entire dialogue about your business. And you want to make sure that if there are updates or changes, you have that prominently displayed. Maybe you even have pop-ups if there's something that important or new that people need to see. Then, when it comes to your other platforms, whether that's Yelp or social media, you want to make sure that you're crafting the message for that audience. So, on social media, maybe you're hopping on and doing a little story where you're actually telling customers what's been going on in your business. Maybe you're giving them a little inside scoop into why there could be potential shipping delays. Anything you can do to communicate with your customers in the places they're connected with you, and think about those different places and what they expect to see. So on Instagram, it's normal to see more behind the scenes and in their content that is giving them an inside look to your business. Maybe your email newsletter is a more structured place where you tell stories or share expertise. But try to use the different channels where you connect with customers to spread those messages as you need to get the word out about new information.
What's a trend you're seeing successful entrepreneurs jump on early right now that will be the norm in 1 or 2 years?
So, I think even before the pandemic, a lot of entrepreneurs were getting in the habit of having constant communication and response plans for any online outreach that customers might have. But nowadays, it is more than mandatory if you want to be considered digital friendly. If you want to be considered accessible digitally, you need to have a person and a method in place to respond to everything. And so that doesn't mean just having alerts turned on, your social media accounts or on your Yelp account. That means maybe setting up alerts to see anytime you're mentioned on the web. Or maybe you need to do some digging and figure out if there are other platforms for your industry that are pertinent. And really, the thing is engagement. So that is the new norm. It's the expectation that consumers are having, and a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners are meeting it. So, what you can do to be a part of that movement and to be forward in that movement is begin engaging on any and all platforms, which starts by knowing where you're being mentioned. So make sure you have a process in place to find out all those mentions that are happening, and then make sure you have a plan to respond to them. Maybe you are the appropriate person, depending on the size of your business and the different platforms you're managing, but maybe that's a task you need to delegate. So keep that in mind. The trend is to be responsive, communicative, and answer all different channels and methods of communication, but the method doesn't always have to be you as the owner.
Freshworks. Why is customer service likely to be at the center of opportunity after the pandemic?
Clearly, right, the world has changed. The world around us has significantly changed to the extent that the way things used to work is not the way things work anymore. And what has this caused for businesses? It has essentially made customer service come to the center of attention. Why is that? The simple reason is that once the pandemic struck, it became extremely important for businesses to find a way to retain their customers and ensure that their customers don't move away. Particularly, what we've noticed is that customers have tended to move away from businesses that have not given them the kind of support that they have wanted. Let me give you an example. So there is a customer, for example, who wants to interact with a brand. They used to go to a shop and then get their questions answered. Now today, because of the pandemic, they are not going to find it as easy to walk into a shop and get their questions answered. So what is the next best step that they are going to take? It is to reach out to the business through an online channel. Now, are you available on the online channel or not? Are you able to give a similar experience to the customer as you did within your shop is essential. And that is where today customer service becomes very critical, right? So customer service is the immediate touch point that most of these customers get when they want to interact with the business, and you have to be present and you have to be fast, you have to be responsive, you have to show empathy, care, and concern, which means that at the end of the day, the first touch point that your customer makes with your business is the customer service function. And that is why it is extremely important for you to ensure that you invest enough time, money, and energy to make sure that your customers are taken care of well. And that is why I believe that customer service will be at the center of opportunity. At the same time, it is also true, which we have observed from our data, is that today customer service just doesn't act as a support channel. It also is increasingly becoming a sales channel, and the lines between sales and support have begun to blur significantly, which means that your customer service agent today just doesn't act as a person who answers queries. That person also acts as someone who has the opportunity to cross sell and upsell to your customers. Imagine a situation today where your business already might be struggling for growth, and there is this person who's interacting with the customer and has the potential to provide more opportunities to the customer and find a way to generate greater business, right? So your customer service agent also becomes a very critical factor in driving not just the defense, which is customer service, but also offense, which is sales. And that also creates a fantastic opportunity for the customer service function to move from being a cost center to a profit center. These are the changes that we are experiencing and we are noticing in the market, and that is giving a lot of opportunities for customer service as a function. So today, customer service leaders are being brought to the board meetings to talk to CEOs and understand what customers are thinking about right now. Nobody knows how customers are thinking. The world has changed, and customer service leaders are the ones who have the best pulse of what the customer wants and how the new customer acts. And this is where we believe that customer service is at the center of opportunity.
Has the pandemic changed customer expectations?
Clearly, as I alluded to earlier, the pandemic has changed customer expectations. Customers today behave slightly differently to how they used to behave in the past. The simple fact is that if you remember earlier, I had said that customers could walk into a store and get their questions answered. Today, that customer is unlikely to walk into the store. The customer wants to reach out to you over a digital channel, right? Which means that you as a business have to be digital first in your customer service. Today, customer service is not about it's not about providing a physical experience, it's about providing the digital experience. And that is where you have to ensure that you are available on all channels that the customer is likely to contact you. The best customer service businesses of today allow you to reach over multiple channels, which could not just, which is not just restricted to phone and email like we did in the past or a physical store, but it also is important to provide services over messaging channels, be it WhatsApp, be it Apple Business Chat, be it Line Messenger, all of these. You should be available over social media channels. You should be responding over Facebook, over Twitter, over any others, Instagram, right? So All of these channels also are becoming important. The other way a customer would like to reach to you is your live chat, right? They could come to your website, they want their questions answered. You have to enable chatbots. You have to ensure that if a question is simple and straightforward, you don't even have to wait for an agent to respond to the questions. You have to automatically get these basic questions resolved using chatbots, which means that live chat, chatbots, messaging channels, social media channels, all of these today are as important as your email, phone support, and physical store support. All of these are now becoming critical in the entire customer service experience. And therefore, it is very important for you to design a strategy which involves not just all these channels, but also connects all these channels, which means that providing multi-channel support alone is not enough. It is also important to provide omni-channel support, which means that a customer could, his first query could come through a messaging channel. The customer's second query could come through live chat. As an agent, the agent needs to be aware of the fact that the customer has reached out to the business through these multiple channels and at different points in time through different channels. The agent needs to give the confidence to the customer that they know that the customer has reached out over all of these channels and that they are aware of all of this through their agent interface, right? So which is where you need to maintain context even when customer is switching channels. And you need to ensure that you do not lose context when a customer is switching channels. All of these mean that you are providing comfort to the customer that they can reach out to you however they want, whenever they want, and in whatever manner that they want to communicate with you. The businesses, on the other hand, also have the opportunity now to not rely on human intervention every single time. This is an opportunity for change. This is an opportunity to go digital first and resolve a lot of customer queries using automation and AI. And in the future, we are convinced that the future of customer service is significantly going to tend towards AI and automation first in customer service, where you will deflect most queries that are asked, particularly the ones that are easily, the ones can be resolved. And the harder ones or the more complex ones or the ones that will require the agent to spend time with customers, those queries will still be resolved over, say, a phone support channel. Those are the ones that will take time, and that's where you give a lot of attention to the customers while the simpler ones get resolved automatically. So this is where we believe that the pandemic is changing customer expectations. We are also noticing that customers today don't have as much tolerance as they might have had in the past. And therefore, it is all the more critical. They are all, we all know that the circumstances have been hard on all of us. And it is extremely important to show care, empathy, and concern while dealing with customers today.
The pandemic has shown us that businesses need to invest more in being future ready. What are the main focus areas for future ready customer service strategy?
As I had alluded to in the answers to the earlier questions, the fundamental of future ready customer service strategy is to be digital first. There are no two ways about it. This is the future, and this is how customer service is going to evolve. Think about customer service that you use regularly in your daily transactions. Think about booking an Uber. Think about buying stuff on Amazon. I am sure that you would have very rarely spoken to a customer service agent on Amazon or on Uber. Why? That is because they have made the customer service experience so automated that most of your queries tend to be answered by self-service channels. This is going to be the future. The customer only cares about their query being resolved. The customer doesn't necessarily want to talk to an agent all the time, which means that it is extremely essential for you to deeply understand your business, deeply identify what are the areas that can be automated, and find ways and begin automating them. That becomes really critical, and you need to ensure that you are building systems and solutions that solve for this. You need to be digital first. You need to bring your processes. You need to build chatbots. You need to build knowledge base. You need to build all of these self-service and self-support channels for customers that allow them to answer these questions themselves. And therefore, the insistence on thinking digital first becomes critical. And this is where you can solve queries faster, you can have your customers be happier, you will reduce the effort that's required for customers. All of these come into picture. Customer effort score is actually a big thing today, right? So you have to make it as easy as possible to get your customer queries resolved in as quick a manner as possible. And what are the things you are doing to enable this becomes really important. And therefore, we believe that the future of customer service definitely at the core depends on you going digital first. Now, what are the other aspects that exist within the future ready customer service strategy? I looked at factors like AI and automation. There are also opportunities for you to think about looking at how you can predict the questions that a customer is likely to ask. What are the AI elements that you are building into your questions? Like, for example, you might notice that a customer is having some issues around a particular feature regarding your product. Can you predict the question that a customer is likely to ask? And then can you prompt that to the customer? The customer might be surprised, right? So these are again aspects that will come into the picture. These are a bit harder, I would say, than the more basic ones which resolve around self-service and chatbots. But the future will also involve bringing in AI and automation into your customer service strategy. At the same time, what I would definitely say is that you cannot ignore the traditional support channels like phone and email support. What I would say is that those are the ones that will come into picture only when they are absolutely needed. When customers are finding it difficult to get their issues resolved through self-service and automation channels, that is when you have to ensure that you have agents ready and available to talk to customers to ensure that their queries are resolved with, as I keep going back to the theme around around care, empathy, and concern. Those will remain critical. At the end of the day, you want to be a friend to your customer, and you have to ensure that you do whatever it takes to ensure that we are happy and satisfied while optimizing for your business priorities. The other aspect for a future-ready customer service strategy that I also look at is around the customer data platform. You have to ensure that every touch point that a customer makes with you over a digital channel is recorded and is kept within a common 360-degree platform. And what this will allow is for you to get a very deep understanding of what the customer is doing, what are the needs that a customer is likely to have, where are the opportunities for you as a business in your relationship with the customer. And this 360-degree platform is definitely how customer service is going to evolve in the future. And I foresee that the customer 360 will become a very common point of conversation and will expand customer services function beyond just looking at it as a support channel. It will also become very important from a marketing and a sales perspective. The future of customer service is around the larger customer experience narrative, which involves not just service, but it also involves identifying marketing opportunities and reaching out to customers beyond just the traditional support channels. So I do think that the future will also involve looking at customer service as a larger customer experience mandate.